I pride myself of having a company where we don't make decisions based on commissions. At the end of the day, our job is to educate and say, here's your options. This is what we think, but you can still make a terrible decision.
We do not generate revenue. We're here to make sure that the people do generate revenue, that we support them. So customer service is really important for myself and for our group. What people don't understand is everything we do has to be done when the business is closed. We'll go in and we have to rip and replace the entire infrastructure. Like there's so much technology out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not the right ones. And we had to go through some growing pains to arrive at that.
It was stressful because I don't want our customers to go through pain. It takes me right down. The pain you're feeling is the pain that I'm feeling, and it keeps me up at night, right? What can we do to make that better? And it's all the way around.
Welcome to Symplicity Conversations, where we explore the intersection of business, leadership, technology, and community. Today, I'm joined by Mark Shafer, IT Director at M&K Truck, and Britney Hayden, our inside technical account manager from Symplicity. So I'm going to warn you, Britney doesn't have a filter. And together we'll dive into the long-standing partnership, how they've transformed M&K's technology systems, and what's next for innovation in the trucking industry. So first, let's start with our Symplicity Insight. This is our famous quote of the day, and it comes from Amelia Earhart. You don't move forward standing still. How true is that? I think that's, M&K's mantra is just kind of plowing forward constantly.
Always looking for the next thing.
Totally. It's like the famous, Britt, we got another acquisition, boom, tomorrow. But
yes.
Very fast.
So be sure to subscribe to Symplicity Conversations to hear more stories about technology, leadership, and innovation in business. So, Mark, thank you so much for being here.
I'm glad to be here, Catherine.
Yes. And Britney, I'm so excited for you to do this.
Me too.
So, Mark, you've been with M&K Truck for a long time. I think we've worked with M&K since 2009. And it was right before you started that we were working with them. So let's talk a little bit about your journey with the company and your role as IT director.
Yeah. So when I started with M&K in 2012, I believe, we had 4 locations, a few in Michigan, a few in Illinois, and one in Indiana. And currently we're about to get to 35 locations now.
That's crazy.
So, and from a technology perspective, and I just think of the day that Catherine called me up and said, hey, I'm work with M&K already. I just want to come in and have a conversation. We sat down and immediately I knew that you were there for our best interest, right? You said, we've got POTS lines. We've got, that we were even talking about just moving lines to PRIs because it was a more cost effective way of doing it.
Right.
Most locations didn't have fiber.
Yeah.
We had, just an antiquated phone system.
Yeah.
And really, that's been just such a valuable part. I mean, from the day that you walked in, we sat in that little conference room. It's just been a great partnership. And as we've grown, Symplicity has just been right there the entire way, just kind of helping us with technology. Also, just, from you think about our journey from a PRI. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about our RingCentral and other technologies that we do, but really because of the forward thinking by Symplicity about how do we get rid of MPLS? How do we need to be able to? We talk about M&K going fast and hard. When we have acquisitions, we usually have 60 days or less to turn it around, and we've got to be able to deliver the same technology to those new locations that we do at our other ones, and even like SD-WAN, right? I mean, we fought through MPLS installs and some really bad locations and hard to get to service. And we fought through those. And then with the onboarding of SD-WAN, it just made us so much more agile. It's been a great experience.
Thank you.
I mean, thank you. Actually, it's made it to where we can be super successful. We can, the problem with us always being able to deliver it in 60 days is the expectation is we can do it in 60 days. That's the only thing,
So don't ask for 120.
Exactly. That's exactly right. But so that it's been an awesome experience. It's been cool to be with a growing company like M&K. That's kind of where we started.
Fast moving, the trucking industry. Wow. So impacted by, ups and downs of gas prices and you name it. You know?
Yeah. And for the listeners who aren't familiar with M&K as a brand, so if you think of like a Ford or a Chevy dealership, M&K is that, but in the Class 8, your semi trucks.
Right.
People always think of, I feel like I got hit by a Mack truck. Well, we sell those Mack trucks.
Sometimes we do feel like that.
Sometimes we feel like that, right? So we're a dealership group. So we do the Class 8, the big semi trucks, but we also do the medium duty, the box trucks that you might see.
Right.
At trailers was another acquisition that we did, which is just a natural, expansion of our business. We'd sell the trailers as well, and then all of our dealerships would have like a parts service department, new and used truck sales. We also have 1,400 lease units that we do from a leasing perspective, and then. Wow. And we also have our own financial department now. So we actually can finance customers through M&K Financial. So it's just, it's grown a lot, but that's kind of M&K in a nutshell.
For sure. And Simplicity's grown a lot too, over the years. And Britney, you've been with us 9 years.
Yeah.
So, you and Mark have kind of grown together, right? And, we laugh because, Britney doesn't have a filter. She's a bulldog, and sometimes with these providers, you need it. They don't bill properly, or there's issues, and sometimes it takes a year to get something resolved with these providers, and so that's been something that Britney, just named the bulldog because she just won't give up until she gets a response. And sometimes I'm shocked, like one acquisition that you did resulted in an early termination penalty with one of the providers of like $30,000, and Britney would not let it go, and she got it waived, which I looked at her and said, what, how? Because that shouldn't have happened.
Right.
And you just get the right person, and she sweet talks them. And
Yeah, it's hard work, but I don't give up.
No.
Very direct, very to the point, and I feel like that in the IT world, you have to be very direct and not sugarcoat it. And so I think that's how it is, and I want what's best for the customers. And
how did your working relationship start with Mark? What's it been like to support M&K Trucks through this 9 years in this journey?
Well, I think when I first started at Symplicity, I remember, I believe it was the PA sites, or maybe it was before that.
Probably even before that.
Yeah. And I had no clue about technology, no training, no nothing, like thrown in. And Britney, here you go. You need to implement this with Mark. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But it's like we work so well together, and we just learned. And Mark and I feel like have a really good relationship. Like I can say, Mark, that's a terrible idea.
Yes.
Or Mark, I don't think you should do that. Or Mark, you need to do it. And he knows I won't give up, and he knows I keep him straight and narrow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Mark, we got to get on the phone, and you have 10 action items, and what are they? And he's like, I haven't done any of them. And I was like, okay, we're going to do them now, and I need answers. And he's like, we can't talk because I haven't done any of them. But
that is so true. I mean, Britney keeps me like on the straight and narrow and like focused on things. And sometimes I feel like she's like my high school teacher, where like I know that I haven't got my homework done yet. I'm like, oh no, I've got my Britney meeting. But she, again, she's just so like focused on what is best for us. And again, like she said, we'll get on the phone, and she goes, we're not going to get off the phone until we get these things accomplished. Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't affect Symplicity if we don't get those things done, but they're things for M&K. But has that legitimate concern that like, we've just got to get this done. We've got to get it off our plate. It's costing us money. It could be, or that this, we've got to get this thing wrapped up for this certain project.
Right.
But she keeps me on the straight and narrow. I mean,
I think it's so important because I pride myself of having a company where we don't make decisions based on commissions. I need to make payroll, so I need to generate revenue. But at the end of the day, our job is to educate and say, here's your options. This is what we think, but you can still make a terrible decision.
Yeah.
And they do, and we see customers and prospects do it all the time, especially with other providers, maybe they're choosing a provider that's not really a good provider. We know that they're going to have a lot of service outages, and it's like, why are they doing it? And you peel it back and go, oh, the agent was going to make a really good commission. And it's like, it just breaks my heart. But I think being able to genuinely say, this is the right thing for you, that integrity of what we do as a whole is why we can have such great relationships. And that I have customers that have become friends, we're friends,
absolutely.
and we, there's so much more to it. And I think that this journey is hard, managing technology for 31, 35 locations, figuring out what should I evolve to is hard. So let's talk a little bit about some of the major changes that you've implemented. We kind of did it in a specific order for a reason, right?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's talk about what was your first really big.
I mean, I again, we briefly touched on even like from the voice perspective, right? Like getting PRIs and bundled fiber together so that where you move off of POTS lines. Otherwise, I still have one POTS line left in our environment that Britney keeps.
And every meeting, I'm like, Mark, we have this. We just have one POTS.
How about if we just disconnect it and see what we break?
Yeah.
The elevator,
and then fix it.
The elevator, we would break
the elevator.
but it's a work in progress, and you've made good stride. But I've kept you honest every time.
It's on our list, right? We keep the agenda, so you don't have to.
Yeah.
I think that's the important thing is that you can throw things out, say, Brittany, remind me of this.
Yes.
You might not get to it for 6 months, but it's on our list.
Right.
And, and then we kind of, I look at things from voice, data, cloud stuff. So first, I think we did consolidating voice and expense management, right? Saving and consolidating as much as we can. Like you want to know exactly what you're paying for.
Right.
And then we evolved the data network, first, you were on MPLSs and, pulling those in, which weren't flexible.
Right.
And so now you're on a SD-WAN network, dual primary, secondary. And again, anywhere we can consolidate just helps.
Right.
Your finance loves that you're consolidated now.
Without a doubt. Yeah. Well, and another example of that is VMOX. I mean, you guys bring in partners that are not only good for us, but they also save us money. I mean, what have we at? Over $300,000 we've saved since we've onboarded with VMOX using their algorithms and and that for folks who are listening, that aren't aware of VMOX, they manage our mobility, right? So we're on a Verizon network. We have 450 lines on our account, but their algorithms will help us manage like, oh, this line is going over. Let's move it onto a different plan. Or someone went to Germany and didn't tell us about it. You know what I mean? They'll automatically add international service to it. But that was a partner you guys brought to us. We weren't even thinking about mobility.
No.
And they're like, you guys really should look at this. I mean, we're going to have, they don't make money unless, they save you money. And it's like, wow, why would we not go on board with that? So,
well, and I think it's looking at all of those areas. And, in IT, everything gets dumped to IT. Yeah. And so you're like, I'm not a mobility expert.
Right.
And so, when that came up on, I think you were having to renegotiate something with Verizon. And I'm like, well, hold on, we've got some options there. And that's a cool thing about Symplicity is we can go into so many areas, even if, like we just saw for a customer, private LTE for a hospital. And I had to call my engineer over and tell us this, hey, Tom, do we do that? And he's like, oh, yeah, we brought this engineer that was his background. And he was able to solve it. And the quote that they got from another vendor was like $3 million for just a couple of floors. We were able to do it for a fraction of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love solving problems because you guys have so much coming at you.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you know that was the right decision? Maybe these salespeople are really good,
Right. Yeah. They are, without a doubt. Yeah.
But from our side that we're going to say, we're not even going to bring it to you. We'll tell you, hey, here, and here, but you're not allowed to look over here.
Yeah. Well, and talking about vendors, I mean, we even had we've had rough experiences, right?
For sure. Yeah.
We had an SD-WAN provider that overpromised and underdelivered, and when it came to the point of like, we need stuff in like 60 days or less, and they weren't delivering, Symplicity is the one that went back to them and said, you know what, these agreements, you're not meeting them. We're going to find a different solution. You're not going to hold M&K, to whatever contractual agreements we had. I don't remember like how long that took, but again, we had a provider that we thought was the right choice. Turned out they were not. Right. And because of Symplicity, we were able to shift gears. We found a different one. That partnership with Nightow has been phenomenal. Right. I mean, they are great. Right. So not every provider is going to fit the bill. And everybody sells the same services. Right. Like, let's be honest with you. Like, there's so much technology out there. And sometimes they're not the right ones. And we had to go through some growing pains to arrive at that, but I did not have the ability or time. I mean, this is where our bulldog, I love having her in our corner because she just goes to bat for us. Like, she's just an extension, and she just says, this is not acceptable. This is why we're not moving forward. I mean, you remember some of those conversations with that carrier.
I think that was probably my first M&K ulcer was that deployment that turned south, that it was like, it was stressful because I don't want our customers to go through pain. And it takes me right down. The pain you're feeling is the pain that I'm feeling. And it keeps me up at night, right? What can we do to make that better? And it's all the way around. I mean, doesn't matter if it's a deployment or not. If you're having issues, it's...
Well, and I think showing up, like in that particular case, I went all the way up to the top and said, this is what's going to happen. Here's where you fell down and you didn't do it. So you're going to allow them to move. And so between Britney and I, just being able to, put ourselves in the right room. And I think a lot of other vendors, they don't even take your call when they're having a problem. They don't take your call.
Certainly not.
No. But we're like, what can we do to solve this? And I think that's what makes the relationship, for me, like knowing that we will answer the phone when you're in crisis, no matter what time of day. You can get to us, and you guys have weekend hours where your locations are open. Holiday times. There's just critical times that if you're in crisis, that. Always. She's a text away. I'm a text away.
We've done it multiple times. Where he sends me a note, and I'm like, "How can I help? What can I do?" It doesn't even matter if it's like a Friday night at 9 p.m. But I can do what I can to help.
You take personal responsibility. Well, both of you do, obviously, but you guys take personal responsibility that, like, you're an extension of M&K, right? Like, if M&K is having an outage, then that's affecting you as much as it is the M&K business, right? So, I mean, I don't recall another issue, not that we got through, but I remember you being on a phone call with a carrier until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So we could go to sleep, and then, like, I feel like we were just like, okay, I'll take, here's the handoff at the next morning, because it was such a major outage, and just trying to get it resolved and just trying to be up to date. And like, that's what our relationship is. Like, you're on the phone at 1 o'clock in the morning, so I don't have to be.
Exactly.
But we need to have that information. We need to have someone representation on those calls, So
totally.
Yeah.
It's it's all about, it takes a village. Technology moves so fast. Sometimes when you make a decision, I'm going to go here, it could be the next year before you actually finish and get to the end of it. But I think so many things need to evolve. And I think the cool thing that we did with the M&K journey is you got I always say the network, SD-WAN, primary, secondary internet, that's the foundation. Anything you put on top of that it needs to have a solid foundation. We did that first. And then it was like, okay, now we've got this premise phone system, contact center, and we needed to go somewhere. And we earned the right to walk through that process and help you understand why. I mean, at the beginning, I think we all had said it's probably going to go this way.
Right.
You have another vendor telling you this is what they wanted to sell you. But I think what was different for us is we really tried to prove it. We wanted to say, I want you to understand why you're excluding some other really good brands. And then even then, when we got into it, we had to do some finagling. The contract, there's some things that we found and said, this isn't working for us. And we went through some negotiations, and I feel like we came out of the other side, being able to own, like, okay, here's what happened and here's how we can learn from that. And we changed our process because of that. you know?
Yeah.
And we want to show up because I know that salespeople have a bad name, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I never consider myself a salesperson, even though we sell a lot, right,
Yeah.
Britt? We're on the sales team.
Yeah.
Clearly we sell. Thankfully, because I like to make your paycheck, right?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That would be nice. But, you know, I think at the end of the day, what's most important is that we put in front of you an understanding of what you're trying to accomplish, because you have initiatives. At the end of the day, your executive leadership expect you to deliver technology that is future forward, that's helping you generate revenue.
Yeah.
So it's cool that we can kind of walk through this.
Yeah.
And even we try to, I think one of our biggest challenges at Symplicity is our customers don't know what we can do. And so sometimes, I mean, I've even heard you say, Mark, why didn't you tell me? We can do that.
Right.
I've
know?
said that more than once
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Just tell me, come to us first. You know?
Yeah.
And honestly, you know, we won't do it if we can, but we'll really listen and find why. Like, okay, what do you need? You know, we're just working on a web chat.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't done that, such a unique situation before, but you know, I really feel like watching this vendor do this now. It's like, wow, this was a great solution.
Yeah.
I think you, more importantly, your staff that's experiencing this seem to be really happy.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. And
which makes you the hero.
well, for that perspective, yeah. I mean, we had a need, you know, for something on our website. We had a system that was just sunsetted, and we hadn't had it for a very long time. And it's direct interaction with our customers. Right. I mean, it's another way. Everybody goes to a website and they get the little chat. That thing, right? Well, we weren't having that. You know what I mean? So, again, I think Britney and I, just in a random conversation, we're talking about it, and you go, Mark, we can find someone. We can do that.
Like, and you're like, I already have X, Y, and Z. And I was like, no, pump the brakes.
Yes, right.
You
Exactly.
need to calm down and give me 24 hours.
Yeah, and literally that's exactly how it went. And next thing you know, we've got these people on the phone, and it's like, well, this is way better than anything I was considering. And
That's too funny.
That's where she's great. She's
you need a picture of me on your desk, so anytime you make decisions, you'd be like, I need to talk to Britney first.
Yeah, that's true. That is exactly. I need to get approval.
She's an approval.
She's my approval person, without a doubt. So.
You know, honestly, because a lot of your decisions produce an invoice. And that's what we try to, like, we really do look at it like, what if we had to write that? I've tried to train my staff. What if you had to write that check? How, you know, would you be good with that? And when you start going, whoa, you know, no, you know, really trying to educate them on the impact of this. And technology's been evolving and challenging, because a lot of times we see, Mark, I don't know if it's true in M&K, but technology department is trying to make decisions. Marketing really has the budget because they own the customer conversation. So marketing tends to have a much bigger budget than IT, right?
Yeah.
And then operations is going, I need it to do this. I've got this, you know, so you've got to now, it's almost like sometimes marketing and operations come and say, we want to do this. At least I've observed that in other organizations. So we used to call it shadow IT, where we're spinning up licenses going, we decided to do X, Y, or Z. So it's really a challenge to, you know, deal with break fix and keep things up, and then also strategy of where do we go. Right.
Yeah. Well, I think anybody who works in technology knows that you'd love to be proactive, but you are more reactive in so many different ways, you know? And so when you have someone like, you know, Symplicity and Britney, who are out there thinking, okay, this is what is coming up next, you know what I mean? So that there's things that I don't have to worry about. And not to divert too much, but you talk about from the accounting perspective, Britney has just as good a relationship with our accounting department as she does with me. And Kristen, one of our main account payable people, love Britney because she's the one that's, she doesn't have to worry about whether billing is working or not and where to get invoices to. And, you know, Chris can just send her a list, and then Britney goes and takes care of it, make sure that like the appropriate payables are going to where they need to go. And it takes things off of Kristen's plate as well. You know what I mean? So it's not only an extension from an IT perspective, but you guys from our accounting department love Symplicity for that reason.
That was always my vision at the very beginning, because we can sit and talk about technology and bring technology, but if it doesn't implement well or bill correctly, you know, all that hard work of negotiating, right? So, so I think that was kind of my vision, is to stay engaged and stay, you know, determining, you know, how can we make this work well? Because, you know, at the end of the year, you got to look at your budget, and your CFO is going to be going, why are you over budget? Or, you know, ideally we like you under budget, right? We like to manage that. But, you know, I think now we look at, you know, when we think about some of the stability that we brought to M&K by moving to an SD-WAN network where we're primary and secondary, and even the voice network, you guys are spending so much man hours on voice outages in the past of, we're out because it's a PRI delivering to a premise, and how do you make it work until it comes back? Yeah. I can't tell you the number of tickets, but now that we moved to RingCentral, gosh, has it been almost 2 years? Yeah. The UCAS is 2 years. We don't do a lot of voice outages. No.
And if there is an issue, which would be like power related or a circuit cut by, we just flip a switch now.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
And it's great.
Because you don't have a huge team over 35 locations. Correct. You know, you don't have somebody in every place. And so you're dealing with locations that there's no IT people there. So you're going, walk into this closet and, you know, pull and do that. And, you know, so over the years, it's been interesting to see how that shift. And so it does help when you can put in that reliable network that then says, okay, what's next? And now as we've gotten RingCentral, UCAS, and CCAS, now we're starting to get to a point where we're able to focus on the data and analytics to say, now what is this telling us? Yeah. You know, because now we're getting to what I call the sexy part of technology, because we want to now start attributing technology, or, you know, like revenue increases to your technology, right? That's we've talked about this, saying, can Ron just look at technology as a revenue producer instead of a cost, right? Because Chad and Ron are like technology cost, right? Yeah. But it can produce revenue. And so this first web, you know, project that we're working on with the web chat, you know, you're going to be open now 24/7. Right. Because when people are searching at 2 a.m. and they want to buy a new truck, which, you know, I'm an online shopper. Yeah. Right. Yeah. People are sitting in truck shops, and that's when they're going to look at new vehicles. So now, because it's going to be AI infused and be able to do some semblance of responses and schedule appointments. Hey, you want to schedule an appointment for the next available? And I think that's going to be exciting, because we're going to be able to point to revenue. So after 6 months, after 12 months, we can go back and look at analytics and say, how many of your sales are attributed to, did it start in a web chat? Right. That's pretty exciting. Yeah. And prior to that, we didn't have data to support it, right? We didn't have reporting to even know whether or not that was a revenue stream. Of course, it should be, you know, even with RingCentral, right? I mean, we can actually, because of the ability to move calls from one location to another. I mean, we have 300, you know, parts agents, right? We should have someone somewhere that's available to take a phone call. I agree. Before, it was just you landed at one location, and if there wasn't someone there, you either sat on hold or you left a message, right? I mean, so we have been. I mean, that generates revenue, right? Yeah. That if someone doesn't answer that call, they're just going to call the next dealership down the road to get their part, right? So, and you have a window of time. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, when you're searching, I do it myself. If I go to look for something and they don't have a website, like I've chosen like shops to work with because this one had a website and I could learn about it. This one didn't. Not even going to go down that road. So it is really important to have that digital window. Yeah. So for people e-shopping and things like that. But I think that even now with your UCAS and CCAS, your contact center, which contact center looks a little different for M&K, right? Yeah, it does. You know? Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. It is different. And again, we're talking about having agent availabilities. Well, now we have, because of contact center, we realize that we can just staff a virtual phone room. Yeah. Right. We have people that are not dedicated to one location. They work from home. They can be anywhere they want. And their job is when they clock in the morning, they're just sitting there waiting for calls. Yeah.
that are going to be overflowed from one location to another.
Yeah.
And they're great at it. I mean, they really are. I mean, some of our best people and parts are in our virtual phone room, So that's what Contact Center has provided, and just another layer of customer service for our folks, our customers. And on top of it, you get reporting, right? Like before, like you can get data to show the executive team, this is what we're doing and this was what's working. Or, from the manager's perspective, you can figure out whether or not there's someone that needs more help here or there. I mean, before RingCentral, they were listening to calls manually. RingCentral has AI built into it. It can tell you if it's a good call or a bad call, right? So you can justify the cost, right? You can make adjustments to your business based on what data we get out of RingCentral. So
what's cool?
So
what's cool, Mark, is we just brought somebody onto our team, Aaron, who does CX and automation. And what's happening now with some of the newer products with RingCentral is just like your web chat is AI enabled. There's products that we can put out. The RingSense product with RingCentral actually coaches people right live that says do this, but it also rates it at the end to say this call was an 8 or this was a 4, and here's because they listen to the sentiment. They listen to what did. Like you can put in compliance is huge, right? Especially in finance. If you're offering finance, you have to, did you ask them this? Did you say these things? So you can then use some of these products to help upsell. You can use them to coach and make your team members even better, especially because those data and analytics, and then they can start doing that little competitive, like, this person did that, I want to do more.
Right.
But there's you layer those on, and so just as much as a web chat is going to allow you to be available to people that come to your website 24/7 instead of right now where somebody has to be there taking it and available. So when you're off work, those go to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So it's also taking the contact center and even the UCAS calls, and you can infuse some AI in there. So if somebody's looking for what are the hours of this shop, would you like me to text you the directions and the hours?
Right.
I mean, there's just some things that you don't have to have a human do that. So now your humans can be saved for more of the complex stuff. And I think that I'm calling that evolution of UCAS and contact center because we need to evolve these, and you guys are so busy.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can divert some of that busyness, especially for the little redundant calls that can be answered. And frankly, people want to self-serve, right?
Sure.
So give them the option to self-serve. But if they really need to talk to somebody because that's their social time, let them,
Yeah.
But you really want to infuse that. So I think that's what I see the next layer of the next couple of years that you'll be working on. That is just really working with operations, marketing, understanding, what is the marketing message? If you can kind of make sure that marketing message is being really thoroughly, that's what your contact center people are saying.
Yeah.
And that's what marketing wants them to say. Now you'll be able to prove that with those data and analytics. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's very interesting to see where our next steps are going to be regarding that. And like you said, if efficiency just drives up revenue, right? If we have people that I may or may not have to, I just need to check the status of my order. Well, hey, we've got something in the back end that can do that for you.
Yeah.
And you can always zero out, right? Like there's sometimes where
they just want to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Like I do that 000.
Yes, exactly.
That's the famous.
Exactly. Yeah.
3 zeros, and then it's going to the phone system's going to transfer, right?
Right.
So that's always available. But we always like to say we like to make that easy. Like if somebody wants just agent, don't make me say it so many times. Lost in IVR hell,
Right.
But I think technology, as you're planning this and what this looks like, you're at a really good point. You've got an excellent network. You've got a really good UCAS, CCAS system. So now evolving it so that you can then have people read those analytics and say, what do we need to know about this?
Yeah.
What do we need to adjust? You might find that you need to adjust oh, that's just hours or
staffing, whatever. You don't know what you don't know, right? That's just it.
Yeah.
Now that we're able to get, data out of our
yeah.
communication platform with our customers, I mean, I see reporting coming from our VPR manager all the time about how we staff more people, whether it's a Saturday or, things like that. I mean, everybody assumes that they're busy, but, assumption and reality can be two different things.
Totally.
I mean, busy in Chicago when you've got, 10 people deep at the counter and your phones are ringing off the hook is different than busy in Missouri, right? And that's just the nature of like the totally. Geographical locations. You know, the Missouri guys are just as good as the Chicago guys as far as what they're able to do, but busy can be two different things. But you can use data to staff around that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I see that all the time with our VPR. I get copied on all the reporting that comes out of it, and like, hey, this group needs more help here, or sometimes we even staff more people in the VPR group to help with the in-store, workload that the people have, and go, you know what, you guys just don't have to worry about answering phones on Saturdays because we've got one more person in the VPR group, and when your phone rings, that call's going to get answered. We've made staffing adjustments because of that.
That's really cool. So M&K 31, soon to be 35 locations, because another acquisition.
Here we go again.
You got 5 days.
Yeah. Pull up your bootstraps. Let's go.
Yeah. So how do you keep your IT team, which you guys are lean and mean? I mean, jeepers. How do you keep IT team and end users aligned with the changing technology?
So we do. We have a small group. There's 7 guys that report to me, which, we're a company of almost 1,200 employees,
That's amazing.
Over 1,000 endpoints for workstations, stuff like that, 120 servers, which we're working to get dwelling that down. Regardless, what I always tell my team is that the end users are our customers, right? We do not generate revenue. We're here to make sure that the people do generate revenue, that we support them. So customer service is really important for myself and for our group, and then we're all in the trenches people, right? I am not above taking a phone call from someone who's having just a day-to-day problem, or when we do acquisitions, a lot of those, what people don't understand is everything we do has to be done when the business is closed, right? So we'll go in and we have to rip and replace the entire infrastructure. I know Ron always says, well, how much is it going to cost for this, and what are we going to use? And I have to make the assumption because we have to be standardized. Standardization is so important. Yeah. I just make the assumption that we can't use anything. We can reuse PCs and things like that. But from the network side, great if they've got connectivity, but other than everything beyond that, we're going to rip and replace. Yeah. From a standardization perspective, and you can do a cost analysis on that. Like if you have 10 different types of equipment that you have to support. And it's just not an efficient way to do it. But again, like with the acquisitions, a lot of it is, it's when everybody else is closed, right? So, with my team, like I'm in the trenches. They know that I'm not above touching computers. Making sure that, all of our boxes are checked, but we are all one, team. I always, whenever I'm on calls with my group, I always tell them that I'm the least technical person probably on this call, and that's okay, right? That's why we have a good team.
You hire smart people.
Yep. Right? And so, I think that really, stressing it with my team, and we've all kind of adopted that. We work hard, we play hard. We understand that there's an expectation from the business for us to accomplish certain things, and no one probably is going to come pat us on the back. It's you ever see like the IT group, there was a show back in the day, and they're talking about like everybody's in the conference room and this big, software implementation that they just did. And the CFO was like congratulating accounting and operations. And then finally they get down to the point where it's like, oh, we forgot one group that we forgot to do it. The janitor. We could have never done this without clean bathrooms. And the IT people are just standing there going like, did all the work, right? Yeah. But we just have to accept. That's fine. I mean, I'm not saying we don't get recognized at our organization, but that's just part of what we do, right? So I try and make sure our team understands that, and that, we're in this together. And again, if we don't do our job, then we can't open these locations. And so, we're here.
Mark, one of my other customers explained it. IT is like the backbone of a company, right? You touch every department. Every department has technology needs. Yeah. So that's what I think people forget is that, we've got marketing, we've got sales, but technology is everywhere.
Yes.
So you're so crucial.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is thankless. They don't understand that, they just walk in and things are upgraded, right? It's like they didn't see that somebody worked from midnight to 6 a.m. doing stuff so that they weren't interrupted during their day. So
anybody who does technology that may or may not watch this would understand that. Like, I always make the joke that we're like psychiatrists, right? Like, no one, people only want to talk to me when they have problems, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I
don't ever get the phone call on Monday morning going, gosh, my computer's just working great.
My computer
today.
turned on so smooth. Thank you so much.
Yes, exactly. It's just part of the nature of the business. But
okay, so here's the deal. If you have a technology person in your life, reach out and thank them.
Yeah, that's lesson learned from today's Simplicity's podcast.
That's right. So what advice would you give when it comes to upgrading core communications to some other IT leaders out there?
Yeah, I think, like we've been talking about this whole time, first, your infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
You can have like the greatest UCaaS or CCaaS. It will fall on its face if you don't have the infrastructure to support it. Kind of a funny story is when we bought some of the Chicago locations, they had someone, they went out and bought ShoreTel on their own and tried to put it in one of the locations. No VLANs, no way to prioritize audio data versus, normal data. And, the first thing I heard from them is this phone system is terrible. And we start looking at it and I go, well, yeah, actually the phone system is not the problem. It's how it was implemented, right? So you got to have your core infrastructure in place. And then again, as you go through your technology stack, you got, as you're building the house, right? You got to have a good foundation. So, and then I always think of like, what does the business really need, right? I mean, there's so much technology out there that does way cool things, but that's your starting point, right?
Yeah.
Like as the IT director, like I feel like I need to be looking at where the business is struggling. And that's where I come to you a lot, Symplicity a lot of times going, hey, we have this problem.
Yeah.
How do we solve it? Right. So
we're problem solvers.
Yes, that's exactly right. So I would say, obviously infrastructure is one really good thing. And then whatever you do, make sure you have data to support it, whether or not, so you can not only justify the cost, but again, so you can say this technology is actually going to be a revenue generator, right? We're going to save money, offset the cost of maybe what the technology is, but, make sure that you can justify, like, we're not just going to buy the latest, coolest thing. I just replaced my iPhone 11 last week. I don't need something that's, I know.
Yeah,
Brittany's like, oh, gosh,
seriously, Mark.
And I'm like the account manager for Verizon. And I was like, I could have ordered a phone at any time, but if it works, right? But I guess I shouldn't divert from that. But anyway, I'm just saying that you make sure that what you're getting, if you're making the investment, that you can justify the cost, and that it's actually going to somehow make the company more efficient, and that you have data that you can get out of it to show it. So.
And put a downturn clause in your contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those kind of help.
Yeah.
Those help.
Those do help.
They help.
That's
you never know.
Right. Yeah.
And you're a growing business,
Yeah.
but sometimes you can, stretch the word downturn.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
We've had to do that as well.
We have to do that. Brittany, what's your top piece of advice for maintaining a long-term productive vendor-client relationship?
Man, I think at the end of the day, just be yourself and grow that relationship. At the beginning, it's like you're working on that relationship, but at the end of the day, I'm not a fake person. I'm very real. And Mark and I have had very laughs, but we've had some really hard conversations though too. And so I think at the end of the day, he knows I'm going to tell him straight up how it is. And if I don't think something's a good idea.
Right, without a doubt.
Like the invisible piece of paper I made you sign.
Yes.
And sometimes I like to bring that up and make fun of him and say,
okay, invisible piece of paper.
Share with everybody.
Yeah. So when we were choosing the phone system on what provider, and I know how Mark is, and when stuff gets hard, Mark gets under stress and he is like full force, like I need this solved and I need this solved now. And so when we were making that decision to what phone vendor to go with, I was like, okay, Mark. He's like, I think I'm going to go with X, Y, and Z. And I said, okay, this is going to be hard, right? Everything is hard. You're implementing a new phone system. It's going to be hard. But I need you to not be stressed and angry with me. So I'm going to have you sign this invisible piece of paper that I can bring out anytime and be like, it is going to be hard.
Right.
But we will get to it at the end of the day. And so, I mean, I feel like a few weeks ago, I was like, do you remember that invisible piece of paper I made you sign? That it's going to be hard, but it will be okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that was...
So she pulled it out.
4 years ago, she said that, and I still remember that.
Yeah, I was like, do you want to sign that now or later?
Right.
And so...
Right. And that was before we even made a decision at that point.
Yeah. Because we had been through hard things, and I knew it's stressful. Yeah. And I know how you are when you're stressed and you're like, I got to make this. And I was like, okay, it's going to be stressful. But yeah, so it's just fun things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm very open and like, Mark, we can do that. I promise you, you need to come to me.
Yeah.
And so I always have your back, and we just have a really good relationship, just whether it's a text or I need something. But it's just a great example of how we treat our customers at Symplicity, and you got to have that relationship.
Yeah.
And that's my passion at the end of the day is our customers, and I go through all the heartache just along with them.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I see that, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, again, if you don't have the relationship, you can't have the hard conversations, right? You know, and as shocking as everyone is, I can be hard to deal with it from time to time.
We've been through it a couple of times.
Just a few, but you know, you need to have those relationships to be able to have those hard conversations, and you know, that's again, Symplicity is just an extension of the M&K team.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that. I love that customers think that about us. Not everyone, because we can't.
No.
Some customers just aren't open to this kind of relationship, but when they are, it's like it just flourishes, in my opinion. But finally, as we wrap up, just for fun, what's one thing that most people don't know about each of you?
Oh, Lord. That's really hard.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah. Do you have something?
I mean, it's kind of cheesy. Most people don't realize I'm a twin. I have a twin brother.
Oh my God, there's two Marks, Britney.
Yeah.
I don't even, we've had this conversation, but I don't know if I've ever.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever.
Identical?
Yeah.
No, fraternal.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I think my older sister and I look more alike than my twin brother and I. I mean, we don't look, you probably tell that we're brothers, but we don't look much alike, but he's still best friend. Talk to me, all the time. Like, yeah, we're good friends, but most people don't. They always say, "Oh no, there's another Mark in the world." That's scary.
If you stand
That's my first thought.
Yeah, if you stand side by side, do you look alike? Would you think you were related?
Probably related, but definitely not twins.
Okay, I'm gonna have to see a picture.
Yeah.
I'll show you one after.
Yeah.
Here.
This is really hard.
I've got one.
Oh, are you going to talk about the chickens?
Yes. Yeah, see, you've got chickens.
I know. I think if you just met me, I don't think people would be like, Britney has chickens.
No.
Not at all.
Bougie Britney.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a farm girl by any means. But, you know, it's insane that I have chickens, but they're definitely just like an animal, like a dog to us. It's very crazy. One of our best girls just died a couple weeks ago. And I literally sobbed. And AJ's like, my husband is like, you're crying over a chicken. But they have personalities and they're like part of our life and our kids love them. And yes, I have chickens, but they're very stressful. So.
I did not know that.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Chickens, yeah.
Would you peg me as a chicken person?
Not at all.
Okay.
No. I just wouldn't think you'd have the patience or the time to go out and feed and get eggs.
She doesn't take care of the chickens.
No.
AJ does.
Yeah, he does chicken chores every week, and I do not do them. And I wanted them, and he'll make that very clear every time.
That's so funny. So where do listeners find M&K? What's your website or contact?
Yeah, just mktruckcenters.com. And like I said, we've got locations all throughout the Midwest. PA
and check
Illinois,
out their new web chat. It's amazing.
The web chat is a deal breaker. It is going to change. It will change your world. That's for sure.
Exactly.
It's changed ours. That's for sure.
Exactly. Well, thank you for listening to Symplicity Conversations. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with us at thesimplepodcast.com. See you next time.